Welcome to Mia the Passion Muse Show. I'm really excited about this new series called Feminine Beauty Awakening. And it's a 13-week segment with 13 beautiful women sharing what it is to be feminine and being fully empowered in that essence. And joining me today, since I am one of the ladies, and I'm not able to interview myself, I don't know how, with me is Elena Fries. Welcome, Elena.
Hi. Hi, Mia.
Hi, honey. Elena will be one of the speakers as well during this beautiful 13-week segment series, and she's going to help facilitate so we can explain what it's all about so you can enjoy it. All right. It's all yours, sweetheart.
Okay, Mia. I hope your audience will forgive me. I've never done this before, but I think that you should be pretty easy to interview.
Well, you're a beautiful angel, so literally they'll love watching you. So thank you.
Thank you. That makes me feel good. Okay. So, Mia, can you please explain to me the purpose of the mini-series Feminine Beauty Awakening?
Yes. This occurred to me a while back that I wanted to share, and then it'll be put into a documentary form. I wanted to share with everyone what true feminine beauty is all about and how it's within every single woman. And when we're within our own power, then our male counterparts rise up and join us. And it's a beautiful, beautiful existence. And it's for everyone. It's our birthright.
Wow. Okay. So, can I ask you, what does it mean for us women to be in our own power?
To be in our power is to feel completely connected to our core. To know that we are living within all our sensual, well, they're called sensuality for the five senses, but to be living and enjoying our true essence of every sense we have. Our eyes can see the beauty once we're in tune of how different the variegated colors are in leaves, how gorgeous a rose is compared to a peony. And our ears can hear so much more beautifully. Our senses, our noses our smell becomes more attuned. Our voices become more melodic and flowing. And our touch, we just love to feel. And it's all part of being a true woman. We all have it. But over time, it's been stamped out of a lot of women for centuries, actually, going way, way, way back, thousands of years. And there are a lot of women who do possess this and bring it forward. And the essence of it is when you're connected with that, your mind, your body, everything, when you're totally connected, you are a queen, and you truly are a ruler, and you inspire your male counterpart. Or if you're in different relationships with another woman or whatever, you inspire that. We inspire our sisterhood among each other. So that's what that looks like.
So this is about women coming together and speaking out to each other about what femininity means in order to inspire it in one another.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what you're doing with this movement now.
Yes. There are so many people who are in this movement. You, me, the other 12 women that'll be speaking, plus thousands that I haven't met yet. And we all have been awakened in the last maybe 5 years or so to this specific movement. It's different than being a feminist. A feminist started back in the late 50s, 60s, produced by World War II, when women had to get out and do the men's job. And then they were put back down to be mothers and not to take care of the outside work that they were used to, that they enjoyed the freedom and facilitating their ability with other women. So being a feminist is more, there's a lot of negativity and a lot of masculinity, a lot of negativity towards our male counterparts. And this movement with these women that it's just exploding, we're here to support our male counterparts. We're here to love, to nurture, and not just our sisterhood, but the male energy as well. When the man feels loved, he can do exactly what he needs to do, and it will inherently just come right out, rise, and he will know.
Now, Mia, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
So you have connected with a lot of women, and you have been able to get in touch with the essence of what this energy is that really brings us into our true beauty as females.
Yes.
What would you say to that woman out there that feels like that is inside of her but doesn't know how to access it completely? Where would you tell her to begin?
Well, it truly begins with silencing ourselves and to feel inside how we want to feel. People ask me, what's the one tip you can give me on passion? Because being the Passion Muse, I love to share passion in all aspects of life. And so when we dream and can imagine and then have that understanding of believing, that's the very first step. Then I also suggest to women that I work with, and I've discovered over years of practice, that you have to get in touch with your self-love. You have to get in touch with loving yourself. It's different than we love because we're women. It's just our inherent nature. But a lot of times we push ourselves aside. And the masculine in men, they don't do that. They tend to take care of themselves first. So it's truly balancing the feminine and the masculine. It's bringing in that masculine energy of, I am important, I am valuable, and I am worth loving myself. And I would say probably 90%, if not higher, they have to be retaught what self-love is. Because through growing up, our patternings and everything in our society, not just our family, but schools, our environment, our culture, we lose what our true essence is, and we follow, like lemmings, we follow the leader. And we are all leaders, not just one, not just the mama, the papa, the president of the United States, the principal of the school, the mayor of our town. We're all leaders, and we all need to express that. So to get in touch with that, we need to quiet ourselves. It's a big process, and you'll learn a lot from all the women during this segment. And anyone that resonates with you, contact them and see if they can work with you, share ideas. I personally am more than happy to do that myself. But I teach people to meditate, because meditation can quiet the chaos inside, and up can come prayer. We can talk directly to God. We don't beg, we don't plead. We're on a level much higher than that. God doesn't hear those things. Communication is heard. The divine communicates with us. The higher sense within us will direct us. And then there's also many little tricks to get your female, as you'll hear some speakers call it their mojo, that'll be talking, but to get your femininity in tune and to just know exactly who you are.
So what I'm really hearing from you is just that moment where a woman says, this is what I am, and I love that. And she just takes hold of that and lets that be what it is. Instead of trying to hold it against what society has told her it should be or whatever.
Right. When a woman will know when she's in alignment, because not only will she feel amazing, she can actually look in the mirror and look at herself. And men do this too. They have a fear when they look at themselves. They either don't like what they see or negative thoughts come up. She can look at herself in the mirror and be so happy and to see the beauty within. She can walk down the street, and if she's in a funky mood, instantly turn that around and get her inner rhythm moving. She can, it's truly amazing, the balance that we have. The beauty and the confidence that we automatically have it, we're born with it. But we have to re-raise it within us. And so to get in touch with that essence of true womanhood, it looks different for every woman. It's similar processes, but because we're also divinely unique and beautiful, that yours, Elena, you're a little angel, and you're quite lovely and sexy in your own right. But yours is going to look different. When you and I go out at a club, we'll see how similar they look. and it's what it is it's sharing. It's not a competition, people. This is not a competition. You don't get anywhere in competition. Once you make your heart full of love and you extend your hands to your sisters to bring them along, and our male counterparts, to bring everybody up, the vibration level is to raise, and that's where the beauty lies.
So by giving love to others, we're able to truly feel that love of what we are.
Yes. We walk around, and this is part of the question before too, how do you know when you're in sync? You know, people are magnetized to you. You have a glow that people just say, wow, look at that person. They're just glowing. Or look at that light. Or wow, I really like what you're saying. Or can I know you? You're kind of fun. You know, it's something that when I was first getting myself in line, I didn't even know what that was. But I remember I used to be able to physically magnetize people, and it was a game I played, and it's only because, you know, juveniles learn their games. And although it wasn't that long ago, I still, you know, I considered myself a juvenile only because I was new at knowing who I was. And I used to be able to physically magnetize people literally walking on the sidewalk. My girlfriends would watch, and they'd be like walking maybe 5 feet away, and by the time they got me, they almost banged right into me. It's just, we're so full of energy. We're so full of power and magnetic connection to others that when we start to understand it, and we can turn it off, we can turn it on at appropriate moments. We don't always realize that it's on until somebody says, hey, you know, you're drawing a lot of attention. Almost you feel like a superhero.
Yeah, speaking of that, Mia, I see that in you. Whenever I speak to you, I'm always struck by this fiery expression in your eyes. There's this real passion and magnetism, and it says so many different things to me. But most of all, what it says to me is survivor. Have you always had that fire? Or when did it come to you? I
have had my fire my whole life, and you're making me blush and a little teary-eyed. Thank you, honey. I've had this fire my whole life. People would always say, you're so passionate. And yet when you say, excuse me, when you say the word survivor, I am a survivor. I was a survivor since before I was born. But I know it's the path, the road that I chose, because I believe with the hardship that I've had in my life, it's truly made me the person that I am today. And I love her. I love me. I love the woman I am. And without being born at 6 months and my identical twin sister dying, and me being fully, I don't know how, I was fully complete and able to go home that day, which is very strange way back then, that's a survival thing. Constant fighting in the home, dysfunction, parents fighting over me, brothers and sisters having a different father. It was not easy. There was abuse from my mother, and I had other things in my life where a family friend thought that he could touch me for years until I was old enough to say no and figured out a way to get away. I had a stalker in high school in my senior year when I lived on my own. All these are survival things, but all of them, yes, granted, I was fearful until I stepped out of that and said no more. I've lived a life of sadness, but yet there was still brightness in me, and I would pop out and be this happy little person, every so often. So was there always that fire? Yes, there was. And it's part of my path to share with others. So.
One more thing, as you're speaking and talking about all of that, I'm hearing your stories of what was no doubt real tragedy and things that could have, broken you or broken anybody. And yet, you obviously found a way to rise above that. And I think, many of us, we go through whatever our traumatic experiences are, and we come out of that full of defense mechanisms. Mm-hmm. And our way of surviving is by essentially fighting what could be a threat away, right? And it seems like what you have done instead is completely open yourself up to the world at large, to what might be a threat, to what could hurt you, and yet you embody true survival by doing that.
I wasn't always in survival mode. I mean, I was always in survival mode. I didn't always step outside of that box. I, for years, lived with the fact that I was an illegitimate child at birth. Lived with the fact that my parents broke up 2 homes because of their affair over me. Their affair that produced me. I was aware that I was molested for years, and I didn't know what to do because I wanted this man's wife, who was a great family friend and who also took care of me, who didn't know about this. I didn't want their family to have harm. My parents divorced. They remarried. They divorced. They fought. My father died of cancer at 13. These are part of my stories, and they used to make me bawl my head off. But I'm not in the place of being a victim. I'm in the place of, this is what I have that's connected to me, but it's no longer a part of me. Are there moments, if I allow myself to become down, are there moments that I might be moved in a sadness regarding that? Of course, I'm human. We all are. But the point is when you're in balance and you're in your femininity and your pure core, you can step right out of it. Just like stepping out of a pair of shoes or dropping your skirt that you're wearing because you want another one. You just drop it to the floor and you just step right out and you put on something prettier because it's truly who you are. You look better in a different skirt. So that's how I see life, and I know that the darkness that I've had, and there has been darkness, a lot of darkness, but it also gives me this amazing ability to see the light and beauty in others, and I love people because of it, and I want to share, and I'm known to spark up conversations in the coffee place or wherever I am. If I see a beautiful woman and she looks lovely, I'm going to tell her, because it's not my duty, it's my joy as another woman to say, you look stunning today. I love that outfit on you. Or what a beautiful smile. Or your children are so sweet. There was this one woman I was getting coffee with, and she wasn't the most attractive woman, but she had beautiful shoulders. She was wearing a t-shirt, and I knew she was proud of her shoulders because they were beautiful. I mean, anything that's beautiful and shiny that we put our energy into is sort of like it has a light upon it. And so I said to her, your shoulders are just beautiful. I just had to tell you, I know that's kind of a strange compliment. And she said, wow. She said, I love my shoulders, thank you. And it meant so much to her that I told her that her shoulders were beautiful. And that's just kind of a silly little thing. Nothing's ever silly, but that's just a smaller version of how we can share with the world their beauty. Isn't it about giving? We can't only give and not receive, but it's about giving. It's not about taking. And giving is love. And love is gratitude. And gratitude is connection to the divine. So it's all a sequence that flows together.
Wow.
So.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you, honey.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
And I'd like to say that I don't believe in arrogance that these are my concepts. I believe that they were given to me from above. That people have said to me, Mia, you don't accept anything. You need to start to own up that this is your stuff too. Well, it is to a degree because it comes out of my mouth and my heart, and the ideas are placed in all of us. But it's the way I express it is me. But the original concepts are not. That's how I feel. Like when I write and all of a sudden I'm divinely inspired and I have to read what I've written over days, like, 6 or 7 times a day, because I'm like, that is good stuff. And I didn't write that, but I wrote that. Well, of course I wrote it because the ideas flowed through my heart. And so I actually wrote them. Did they come from another place originally? Yes, they came from up above. And we all have, and when I say above, I mean around, encompassing the energy all around us. It's God, it's the divine, it's source, it's creator. And we all have this ability. And that's what getting in touch with our core is. If you're a man, you can still be just as in touch with your core. And I'm not saying on the feminine side just because this is a series on feminine beauty awakening, but on your masculine side. And perfect balance within a woman and within a man is to have the perfect balance of masculine and feminine. It truly is. I didn't understand that at first. I thought, I have to be a boy, and I'm not going to be a boy. I've never been a boy. Right, exactly. That's what I thought. I mean, and this is me as a woman recently, a couple years back. And I was having coffee with some women. Actually, we were having coffee drinks late at night at a Beverly Hills hotel, and we were sitting around the outdoor pool, and it was so 1960s-esque. I could just see like the Rat Pack with Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra. I mean, it was just like, it was a really cool shaped pool, and it was enclosed. The hotel was around it. It was just really awesome. And one of the women said to me, Mia, you're very masculine. And I laughed. I said, really? I've never thought I was masculine. I've always been told I'm a flower. I'm quite feminine. And she said, well, what I mean is your assertiveness, your confidence is masculine. And I said, if that's masculine, I give that to you. Thank you. And I realized that that's expressing balance of the feminine and the masculinity. So we're both.
Perhaps your goal is to be able to express the positive side of both energies. Like when we express our masculine energy rather than being aggressive.
Right.
We should be assertive. Confident.
Yes. Focused. Mm-hmm. Right. Wow. Exactly. And then as a woman, because this is about feminine beauty awakening, as a woman, there's amazing, I was just thinking about how when I mentioned the inner rhythm, if I may I interview her? Talk about the inner rhythm? Okay. All women have an inner rhythm, and we have to find it. And I know men do too. But I think ours is different. And I correlate my rhythm with music. And not just the sound, but the vibration, the feel. And there were years that all I did was listen to music. And I'm talking about the last couple years. I listened to music. You'd see me outside of the car walking with my headset on my iPhone, listening to my music. Now I listen to Pandora when I walk or shop or whatever. And it's not that I don't want to be connected to people, but there are moments in our life that music spurs our soul for beauty. For me, I know my inner rhythm, and I don't have to have my music on now all the time. But I've developed my inner rhythm. I know it feels good. I know when I walk jazzy or snazzy or saucy or, any of those words you want to implement there. I know when I feel good. And I know that when I feel bad and not within my core of my true essence, I may be feeling like, oh gosh, I feel fat today, or my clothes aren't hanging right, or what can I do? If I'm walking down the street and window shopping or having coffee with friends and talking, and I'll look at myself in one of the windows, as we all do, and I see something I don't like, I'll be like, yikes, that's really scary. So I'll instantly pull out my passion car. I'll instantly get in touch with my inner rhythm again and go on from there. And that inner rhythm to me is the music that stimulates my core, and I literally will move and I'm back to myself. And next time I look at myself in the window, a minute later, I look differently. We all have these preconceived notions of what we look like, who we are. And most of the time, until you know truly your divineness, that they're false. There's so many gorgeous women that have body dysmorphia that I work with that it's frightening. When I told one of the first people that she had body dysmorphia, I said, I hope you're not offended that I'm saying this. I said, but you're a beautiful woman, and having an eating disorder that you've had in your past, it shows you that when you look in the mirror at yourself, you're not seeing yourself in your true light. You're seeing yourself in that dysmorphic phase. And so we worked on getting past that. And once you get past that and know that it's a lie about, truly divinely, it's a lie about who you are. You were never separated from God in the first place. We never were. We were born perfect. Even children that are born, and babies that are born with birth defects, they're still aligned to God perfectly. It's just what is visibly being seen and believed at that moment. There are miraculous healings in people. Or there are amazing people that still live with things. Look at Stephen Hawking. He's the most brilliant mind on this planet today. And he's in a chair and speaks through a computer. And he's funny, and he's intelligent, and he's jazzy himself, because he knows and he loves himself. He knows who he is. It doesn't matter what our frame looks like. We have beauty that shines out. That's the whole purpose of Feminine Beauty Awakening, is to be aligned with the beauty within. And it comes out and it shines and it pours. So that is what this segment, this segment's about explaining it, but that's what the series of Feminine Beauty Awakening is all about, is letting everyone understand that they have the ability to shine bright, to shine forth, to be the person they want to be, because it's already their birthright. We're born with it. And part of the glory of finding it, see, any treasure you have to find. It's just not placed there or we don't appreciate it. So it's a treasure of self-discovery, and the beauty is within the treasure that we find, and that treasure is us. So that's why I'm doing this segment with these people. And I'd also like to say, because we have a few more minutes, and you'll probably want to ask me another thing or two, but about a month ago, when I was working my inner rhythm, I was feeling very frustrated. And so I turned on the music. I turned on the music that I love, that gets me going and dancing. And I was dancing around my place here. And all of a sudden, and I'll confess, I was upset with my boyfriend. and all of a sudden, huge amounts of love just came waving, just huge, like ocean waves, like a tsunami over me. I was so, of course I know this feeling, but I was so impressed with the quick magnitude of change from being angry for a couple hours and saying, I am not going to be in this space anymore, to turning on the music and doing what I know that makes me, helps me, brings me back to my center. It was so magnificent. And I came up with the concept of Dance Awakening. And it's all part of this series and more. And that is that on November 7th, 2012, at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, for 5 minutes, every woman around the world, we're trying to get them to dance. Not trying. We're going to get them to dance. And to be a part of this, to shift the world's axis even. If every woman danced at the same moment in time with the intention of love, of healing herself, her counterpart, and to bring the vibration of the love level up, we literally can move this planet into a different realm. Do we need to continuously work at it after that? Well, of course. But the beauty of what we will experience is so grand that how can we not want to continue? When you experience love and beauty, you don't want to go back to something that's not. I know that when I'm in that space of feeling totally connected, I know I could live by myself if I had to, serving others for the rest of my life and be joyously happy. Because in those moments, I'm complete. I'm complete all the time, but getting in touch with that completeness, we have to always do it. So don't be afraid, anyone. It is work, but it gets easy. It gets really easy, and it gets fun. And that's what I'm sharing with you all. Not just Dance Awakening, but Feminine Beauty Awakening. So, anything else you wanted to ask me before we...
That's so cool, man. I think that's a beautiful idea. Yes, and one other thing that I would like to ask you is, could you speak really quickly to whatever woman is watching this right now and thinking to herself, I know that I sort of already asked you to do this, but could you speak directly to her and explain to her how she can open herself up as she explores this process? Give her that confidence that she needs to be aware of herself.
All right. I'm going to cry. Each one of us, you, are able to have this within you. The reason being is you were born perfect. You're the reflection of God, just like all of us. Don't be afraid. If you desire to have a beautiful life and to be totally connected, quiet yourself. Imagine what it would be like, all the realms, what you would look like physically, what your relationship to your husband, boyfriend would look like, what your children would look like, as in not their physicalness, but how you would be there for them, what your workspace would look like, what your daily environment would look like, what your life looks like, what your home looks like, what your friends look like. And this is all, I see myself in the light in which I want to be. I see a loving relationship, if I may just put this back to me, how I created mine. I was 140 pounds heavier, and I had the dream that I wanted to be thin, and I wanted to be happy, and I wanted to be in a relationship that was truly connected and loving. And I wanted to show my children that I was not an ill person in a wheelchair that hadn't walked very well in 3 years because of an accident. I wanted to give to my family and to myself something greater. I wanted to leave a legacy. And so getting in touch with the dream that we have and not being afraid. You can't be afraid. And once you connect that mind with your heart, that vision with the beauty of your heart, and knowing and feeling exactly what it feels like to be a hot woman, to be joyously loved by a male counterpart who adores you, or if you're a lesbian, to be loved by that woman you love. We're universal here. We're not pigeonholing anybody. To know what it's like to raise your children to beauty so that they can flourish and be the most amazing souls that they can be. Not for you, but for them. For them to realize their divinity. For them to live a beautiful path. What you want to do with your work career. I had been a writer for 10 years. I never had anything published. Within 2 weeks of deciding that I would be published, publishers came to me. They had heard about some of my stories, and they came to me. In less than 5 months later, the book that I was a participant hit the Library of Congress. It can move that fast. I was in a wheelchair. I committed to myself that I would be out of my wheelchair by January 1st, 2009. That this was August 14th, 2008. It was my birthday. And I committed to myself. So I took the steps. I had to take the steps. I had to keep this alive. I got out of my chair. I built my inner core. Was it hard? Yes. Did I take medicine in order to, at that moment, to make me strong enough to do it? I had to. But here's the glory. When I started January 1st, 2009, I had not done dishes in 3 years. I had not been able to cook a meal all at once for my children. It took me hours. I slept 20 hours of the day because I was depressed with my physical state. When January 1st, 2009 came, I realized the only way to accomplish this is passion, is true, loving passion. Who has passion? Children. They crawl through swamps. They roll down anthills. They go out into the ocean to body surf. They ski at very young ages. We do what we want to do because it's fun. So I decided from that moment, as soon as I woke up that morning, everything would be fun and there would be no reason to say no to anything. No would not be in my vocabulary, and it wasn't. It took me 2.5 hours every day for several days until it got slower to do the dishes. Was I in pain? I sure was. I sure was, sister. I had to bend my body under so that I could stand there. Did I have to take breaks? Occasionally. But I wasn't allowing myself to just not do it. I started the gym January 2nd. I started my eating program January 1st. I lost 20 pounds a month for 7 months, no surgery. Then I had surgery to remove the excess skin and to have my breasts reduced. Yes, they are mine. Have them reduced, which means they also lifted them. And I started dating. I also filed for divorce. I did everything. This is my story. Everyone's story is different. But if it resonates with you, wonderful. And within about 4 or 5 months, probably 4 months of my journey, was when people started not recognizing me or saying, "You are so beautiful." And for me to say, "Really?" I had never looked at myself in the mirror, period, in years since I had a stalker. And so, and I ate to keep men away because I had too much attention on me. So the thing is I actually had to get to know myself. I started taking pictures and I looked at them and I would cry and say, "Who is she? She's kind of pretty." But yet I wouldn't allow myself to admit that I was attractive. And so it flows from there. It's not an overnight process. We have to love ourselves. And as I grew in my path, I realized that my self-love had to come out as well. And that's my current wonderful love that I share with women. And it's experiential. It's deep, painful work. But it's beauty, because when you start to shift and you start to see yourself as amazing and you can see your own soul, you want nothing more. Did I answer that, or did I go off on a tangent?
Oh, no, I think you answered it.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that story. It's really a beautiful story.
Thank you.
It's very inspiring.
Thank you, honey. So if that's through with your questions, then all I have to say is thank you so much. You are a beautiful light, and I love looking at you, and I'm grateful that through this process of asking you to be a part of my interviewing you, we've gotten to know each other. And that's the beauty of opening up and knowing who you are, is you find the most magnificent people. My girlfriends are the most beautiful people in the world, physically and everything else. And people tell me all the time, "Wow, you've got some gorgeous friends." I'm like, I know. I see everybody as gorgeous, though, because I don't limit somebody who looks different than me. I need to know them. If I don't know them, how can I judge whether they're beautiful or not? They are beautiful because they're just like me. We're all the same. We have a unity of energy that flows. So
true.
So with that being said, I will share the rest of the segments with other ladies, and it was an honor to have you do this for me. Thank you so much. I can't think of a better...
It's an honor to interview you.
Thank you. I can't think of a better person to interview me today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mia.
And at the end of this segment will be both of our information in case you wanted to also get in touch with Elena. She's also, if I may say, not only is she beautifully in touch with her femininity and her soul, she's also a professional psychic and goes by Mystic Elena.
And I'm an astrologer too.
And an astrologer, and she, for me, she is the first one that truly gets every single segment of being a true woman, and how we also are drawn and pulled by the universe, because we are. The moon gets me. My eyes got a little bit wild there. The moon gets me. And there's a reason why I'm a moon girl, and she'll tell me at another time. So thank you so much, and we'll see you all next week.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.